Let's take a closer look at the ISO 27001 standard. When boiled down, ISO 27001 is a standard on how to manage an information security program. It's split into two main parts: clauses 4 through 10, which describe the foundational requirements of the standard, and Annex A, which is called Reference Control Objectives and Controls. Before we get too far, let's talk about the term clauses, which you'll hear me use a lot. You can think of clauses as just sections of the standard. By the way, the first three clauses at the beginning of the standard are ignored for compliance purposes because they don't contain any actual compliance requirements. That's why we only care about clauses 4 through 10 in the first part. In clauses 4 through 10, you'll be introduced right away to a term and concept that will be used throughout this standard and ISO 27002, the Information Security Management System, or ISMS. When I first heard this term, I thought ISMS might be referring to some sort of computer system that helps secure your organization. But ISMS isn't a computer system, it's a management system, specifically a management system for information security. The ISMS is a never-ending security management cycle which includes four main parts: establish the ISMS, implement and operate the ISMS, monitor and review the ISMS, and maintain and improve the ISMS. These parts of the ISMS correspond to the classic Plan, Do, Check, Act, or PDCA continuous improvement method. You can see how clauses 4 through 10 fit nicely into the PDCA model. Plan, establish the ISMS, is clauses 4 through 6. Do, implement and operate the ISMS, is clauses 7 and 8. Check, monitor and review the ISMS, is clause 9. And Act, maintain and improve the ISMS, is clause 10. In this course, I'll give you a detailed overview of clauses 4 through 10, which will help you get started with your ISO 27001 compliance journey. In the second part of the ISO 27001 standard, we find the Annex A controls. These controls are specific requirements that must be followed if you want your organization to comply with ISO 27001. There are 14 control areas in Annex A with a total of 114 controls. Some people might call the 14 control areas domains. These controls are aligned with the controls defined in the ISO 27002 standard. Now, this is just one of two courses I've created on ISO 27001. In the next course, I'll walk you through all 114 controls required in Annex A of ISO 27001. It's important to note that ISO 27001 doesn't contain any implementation guidance for the Annex A controls. It's just the controls and the control objectives. You can find implementation guidance for the controls in ISO 27002. And again, I highly recommend you invest in a copy if you're serious about implementing ISO 27001.